my name's Tom Meitzel. I'm a licensed real estate broker and investor. You can find us at MadisonHomesales.com, thehouseflipguru.com, and also at HomeWithTom.com. We work primarily out of the Midwest, although what we're going to talk about today works anywhere in the U.S. We've owned property everywhere from Florida to out east, out west, and so we've got a pretty good feel for what you're going to experience as a new investor trying to find your first tenants. Now, the first thing you need to do when you're looking to be a real estate investor is find the property. And we have a video on that, and we have several videos on that. Please feel free to watch those. They'll give you some advice. You can also contact us, and we can coach you through it. But one of the primary aspects of making money in real estate is finding good tenants. Good tenants can either make you or break you. They can make your life a joy, or they can make your life a nightmare. Finding tenants is important. Most tenants we find nowadays, we find online through Craigslist, Backpage, things of that nature. Years ago, it was always done online and in online publications. Now, we typically don't spend any money on online publications or the glossy brochures. We mostly pull most of our tenants right off of Craigslist. So we advertise the property on Craigslist with pictures, things like that. What we then do is, rather than meet each tenant individually, a lot of people will set up appointments and you've got to make several trips to the property. What I do very successfully is I have everybody come at the same time. So when people call me on the ad or email me on the ad, I say that we're going to show you the property at 6 p.m. on Wednesday. Then I have everybody come at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, so when I show up, in many cases, I'll have 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of people or individuals interested in the property. I take everybody through at the same time, and then those that are interested, I have fill out an application. Now, the reason I do that is it saves you an enormous amount of time, but it also creates a bit of a bidding war as other people are thinking, well, I better get an application in. I don't have a lot of time to think about it. Because other people are interested in the property. It'll just set you up for a lot more success. So bring everybody at once. Those that are interested, have them fill out an application and collect them right there. And if you want to charge a deposit or a fee for processing, you can do that to check on your municipality. But in general, we'll charge $25 to $50 application fee, which if they don't get accepted, we'll generally give back. But depending on where you live, you may or may not have to do so. Now, you need to screen your tenants. If you're going to screen any tenant, you've got to screen every tenant. Otherwise, you are looking at getting in huge trouble because the government has rules and regulations on what you can and can't do in that regard. You can do pull a credit check on them. I'd suggest you do. You can do a background check on them, and I'd suggest you do. But you must, if you're going to do it on any, you have to do it on all of them. Otherwise, you're opening yourself up to a discrimination complaint, which makes no sense. It's pretty easy to do. You can set up through your tenant associations or just ask around to people who have rental property. They'll be able to tell you how you can go ahead and pull credit reports and do background checks, or call a real estate attorney. They will also know. But you need to screen tenants. You also need to make sure that your property is government compliant. Do you have an energy certificate if it's required? Check with your local municipality. What kind of permits do they require? They're going to require smoke alarms. They're going to require carbon monoxide detectors. Some municipalities require, if it's more than one unit and there's a common entry, that the common entry be locked. There's all kinds of rules and regulations. Once you get familiar with them, you'll be okay. But your local tenant associations, your local real estate attorney, or you can even go down to the local government, they'll typically have a checklist of things that you're going to need to do. Now, the important thing when you have tenants is you've got to train them properly. If you let tenants start getting away with things right out of the gate, you're going to have nothing but trouble. For instance, we tell our tenants that if the rent is paid on or before the 1st, they get a 5% discount. Really what we do is, if we wanted $700, we'll mark it up to $735 and tell them it's $700 if we have the check on or before the 1st. If it's not there on or before the 1st, then it's $735. And if it comes on the 3rd, we send them a bill for the difference. You have to train them. Now, if they haven't paid it in 5 days, then you have to do something called a 5-day notice, which starts the process for evicting them if you can't get them to comply. But what I'm telling you is that you've got to have rules and regulations in place, and you can't be a nice guy about this. You can be pleasant about it, but you've got to be firm about it. You do not want to start cutting people slack, because if people get more than 2 months behind on rent, the odds of you collecting that are about slim and nothing. Another technique I recommend for new investors is don't tell the people you own the property. I know I was real proud when I owned the property, but people think if you own a property, you're rich. So they, in many cases, they don't feel guilty about stiffing you. So just tell them you're the manager, and if they give you, and if they complain, well, you know, it's not fair, you know, I need more time, say, well, I've talked to the management, they require me to get the rent in, so what can we do to do that? But you need to make sure that you're following the same rules and regulations for everybody, and make sure that you're following compliance, because in some areas, like in Nevada and Florida, you can get a tenant out in 3 weeks or so for non-payment. In some areas, especially in the north, Wisconsin, it can take months. So you've got to get the process started right out of the gate, and you got to make sure that you're firm with your tenants if you want to have a successful business in real estate. Problem tenants you'll occasionally get. I don't care how good a screening you do. I don't care if you're government compliant. I don't care how much training you do. Occasionally you're going to have problem tenants. Drugs are a huge problem. If you've got people doing drugs in your building or something like that, all your good tenants are going to leave. You have to get rid of the bad tenants, and you have to do so quickly. If you've got drugs and you know about it and you're not taking any steps to get rid of them, you actually could be looking at some liability, and in the worst case, confiscation of your property by government entities. So what you want to do is, if you got a drug issue, you want to get the local police involved, make sure that you're getting those types of people out. Those are some of the worst. I mean, violence and drugs cannot be tolerated in your property, because the good people will leave. You'll end up with the dregs of society, and you will be looking for a way out of that property. Noise is the most common problem, and if you've got an upstairs downstairs unit, the downstairs units are almost always going to be a little noisier. You typically don't want to put hardwood floors on the second floor if there's somebody down below. You want to carpet those, keep it a little quieter. But you need to stay on top of noise complaints. Do be aware that some people are perpetual complainers, and that you'll never be able to satisfy them, and then when the lease comes up, they'll hopefully move for you. Non-payment is a big issue. As I'd mentioned, if they haven't paid within 5 days, or if you've got an early payment discount, like I mentioned, and they don't pay on or before the 1st, then you go ahead and you charge them the extra, and you have to do it. You can't cut people slack on that, because it's going to become a problem. They will try to make their problems your problems, and you are a business. You've got a mortgage to pay, you've got other bills you have to pay, and if they don't pay you, you've got to take it out of your pocket. So unless you want to start taking it out of your pocket and supporting your fellow man who cares not about supporting you, then you'll have to make that decision to be firm with them. Now, in order to be successful in the real estate business or in the rental business, is you actually have to be very proactive. You have to be looking for problems before they occur. The biggest reason people will move is, besides violence, noise, drugs, things like that, is your non-responsiveness to maintenance requests. If there is a maintenance request, that's an opportunity for you to go ahead and take care of that, setting you up for being a great landlord or a great manager in the mind of the tenant. However, some of the things you're going to have to fix are often caused by the tenant. So what we do, if your municipality allows it, is we tell the tenant they're responsible for the first $20, $25, some places are significantly higher, of any repair. That discourages them from calling you for the little things. And we also charge, if they, for instance, plug up a toilet, flush it, and flood the bathroom, and you've got to replace ceiling tile or whatever down below, we charge the tenant for that. Negligence on the part of the tenant is billable to the tenant in every case. If they ruin something, if they wreck something, if they're goofing around and they break a light fixture and you have to pay to fix it, they not only pay for the light fixture, they pay for the labor and your time to do it. So tenants can be trained very well, and if you do so and you stay on top of them, you treat them well, but you also hold them accountable, you're going to find that residential real estate investment can be a wonderful career, can be very profitable, very rewarding, and can set you up for wealth later in life. Now, if you'd like to learn more, feel free to call us. We actually do coach new real estate investors through their first couple investments to make sure they don't make any expensive or financially fatal mistakes. You can reach us at homewithtom.com, also at madisonhomesales.com and thehouseflipguru.com. We have a number of ways to contact us, or you can Google us, and we'll be happy to talk to you about what you want to accomplish in real estate. Thanks, and have a great day.